Hello everyone and welcome to the 21st video in our survival game series done by Brackies. I am the CEO of Brackies, and in this video we're gonna be taking a look at respawning our player. So in tutorial number 19 we did the actual respawn menu, and now we're gonna be taking a look at respawning the player. So we will give him some more health. We will disable the menu. Also, we're gonna fix a bug with the AI and stuff. So it's gonna be really awesome and a little complicated because we're gonna switch a lot between scripts. And yeah, but hang on. I'll see how fast and how thorough I will be able to do this. So, player respawn. Whenever I need to add a new function, like the player respawn or like firing a gun, opening a door, or more advanced stuff, or even simpler stuff, I like to sit down and just brainstorm what needs to be done. And so the first thing is that I have gotten a couple of comments saying that the AI still attacks when the player is dead. So that seems silly. So first of all, we're gonna just gonna fix that. Then we want to fix the respawn transform. So we are gonna make it so that when our player respawns, he's transformed, that position and that rotation is gonna be equal to an empty game object. Then we are gonna send a message to the player's stats that they should be reset. And so we are gonna go in and edit the health script to handle that. Then we want to re-enable the components that allow us to move and look around the scene. Then we want to change the player's stat variable to false. And then we should be left with 3 modified scripts: the AI, the health, and the respawn menu scripts. And we are gonna add them. Cool. So let me just drag this out of screen, and we can just follow it in our minds. So now, as always, I have opened up Unity, and here we are. So let's just quickly clean up from the last tutorial. So go ahead and drag the crouch height, the FPS and the FPS walker enhanced into the scripts folder. I also want to go into the scripts folder and find the one called advanced AI, and also the one called player stats. And you can select multiple objects or scripts and assets by holding down the control key and then clicking again. So now let's just select these two and drag them into the assets folder here. Cool. Now let's go ahead and make some duplicates of all these because we're gonna edit them all. And I thought this would be a good point to make a version 2 so that people who download the new assets but having come to this tutorial can still follow. So let me just go ahead and select one at a time. First the respawn menu, hit Control D or Command D if you're on a Mac. And then we're gonna rename this to respawn menu V2. And that's a capital V. Then we're gonna take the player stats and then just Control D. Rename to player stats V2, and we're gonna do the same thing with the AI. So advanced AI V2, and now we can just go ahead and drag the advanced AI, the respawn menu, and the player stats, the V1 versions, into the scripts folder. Okay. So now let's go ahead and first of all edit the advanced AI script. And I just want to make some quick comments at the top to make people understand that this was made in tutorial number 21. So important note, 2 slashes mean comments. And this script was made in video number 21. Check out the earlier version, not V2, for if you haven't reached that video. Cool. So now that we have cleared that up, let's go ahead and dive into it. So what we basically want to do is we want to check whether or not our respawn menu v2 that has a variable. So if we open up the player stats also and the respawn menu v2, you can see that inside of here we have the variable created in the tutorial number 19 called player stat, and we want to check whether or not that is true. So let's just go into the function update and then type if, and remember we can access this variable because it's static. Right, so if respawn menu v2, remember that, dot player is dead is equal to true or false, I should say, then we want to do all of this. So open bracket and close it down here, and then we can select all of this, right click and toggle line comments. Oh no, I'm sorry, just select all of it and then hit tab and it will tab it outwards. Alright, so cool. And now we should actually already be able to see this working if we just drag in the scripts already. So let's do that. So first of all, hit the player. And I want to just clean up from the last tutorial, delete the sprint and crouch script, delete the FPS controller, and the character motor. Now it's just a little more organized. And so we can drag in the player stats v2 and the respawn menu v2 onto our player. And then we can just disable the player stats and the respawn menu. And let's see if everything is set up correctly. The health is like I want it to be, and these will be set at startup. So now that we have them on, let's select our enemy. And if you have been smart enough to make this a prefab, sorry if I'm knocking anyone, you would just be able to drag on the advanced AI and disable the old advanced AI, and then hit apply up here to influence all enemies. Else you will have to do this with every single one. You could also just go ahead and rename the advanced AI that is already on it and then save the other duplicate. But however you want to do this, it's up to you. Now let's just redrag the player on as a target and see if there are any variables that doesn't match. It looks fine. Good. So now that we have that in place, we will be able to see this working. So hit play. And when I run over to our enemy, the variable controller of advanced AI has not been assigned. Let's take a look at that. So select the enemy. And yeah, I see. So we have to just drag down the character controller. Like that. And that should fix it. So let's run over to the enemy. Let him attack us a couple of times. And for some reason, we don't die. So let's go into the advanced AI v2, because I have a feeling of why this is happening. So let's see. We have the apply damage. We have the attack, which sends a message to the damage. Okay, so I think we are applying damage, so we can go ahead and collapse the advanced AI. But I think down here in the player stats, we have the respawn menu dot player stat equals true. We have to change that to player respawn menu v2.player is dead. And I know this is a bit confusing, but it's just because I want everyone to be able to follow the videos. So just go ahead and change that. And of course you can just update your scripts with everything we're doing here. You don't have to follow the v2 and v3 and whatever. Okay, so let's see if it works now. So hit play. And go up to the enemy. He attacks. And yes, we get the respawn menu. And we should see him turn yellow. And we should also see that he is no more calling the attack function. So no damage is applied. Awesome. But again, nothing happens when we press respawn. And that's something I want to change now. So, okay, we have the fix AI in place. Let's fix some respawning. So let's start out by creating an empty game object, which will be the location of where we will respawn once we are dead. And later on, we will probably make a system so that the player can influence where he will respawn in some way. It might be through different towns. He can speak with the innkeeper, just like in games such as World of Warcraft. But we'll take a look at that in another video. So game object, create empty. And then call this, let's call it spawn location. And then just for good 0, 1. And let's drag it up here. And so I would say about 3 meters off the ground. Or units, I'm sorry. And then just place it, let's say over here, just so we can see the influence of it. And both the position and the rotation of this will be applied. So right now our player will probably spawn facing this way. Alright, so just make sure you don't mess all of that up, so he will spawn sideways like that. Okay, now that we have that, let's actually make a tag for it. So go up under tag, add tag, call this let's say spawn, just spawn location. And let's hit the spawn location 0, 1 again, and then select this as a tag, just to stay organized. Alright, so let's go into the respawn menu script, to double click that. And let's also change this important note to the one we made over here. So I've just pre-typed this, and I'll just copy and paste it. So important note, this script was made in video number 21. Check out respawn menu to use the one. Awesome. Let's just go ahead and delete these lines here I have commented out. There's no reason for them to be there. And let's now go down to the respawn player function, which most of our logic is going to happen in. Because this function is already called at the right time. Now we want something to actually happen in it. So the first thing we are going to do, and this would be a good time to take a look at our notes, is fix respawn transform. So we want to teleport our player to the respawn location. And this is done by saying that our transform, our current position, so transform.position, should be equal to, so equals. And now we want to make a variable that can store our respawn location. So make some space, var, let's just say, respawn transform. And then a type transform. Close it off. And then say transform.position equals, and then we can just type respawn transform.position. And we can just remember to close it off, and then we can just copy this, paste it, and change position to rotation. And now we should see, whenever we play the game, that our player will actually teleport to the right place. But let's just get some more code done before we start testing. So the next thing we are going to do is we're going to make sure that our player doesn't die as soon as he respawns. And he would do that if we just left it like this, because the health would still be 0 or under, and therefore he would instantly die again. So we have to send a message over to our player stat script that it should give a new health to the player. So as said on the notepad, we want to send a message to player stats. So let's type let's type game object, because the script sits on this game object, so we don't have to create variables for it or find it or anything. We can just reference this. Dot send message, parentheses, and then type in as a string, type, let's call this respawn stats. Because maybe we don't want to reset them completely, but only take 80% of the max health. You can do whatever, so I'm just going to call it respawn stats and not reset. And end it up. And now let's go into our player stat script and edit this to be compatible. So we called it respawn stats. So let's go down and create a new function called exactly that. Respawn stats. And open up the brackets. Whoops. And inside of here, we are going to type health equals. And at this point, I could do 100. But that would be really annoying, because then we would have to change this number every time we changed the variable health in Unity. And I can't say that health should be equal to health, because then we would get the edited version, so the health variable that have lost damage, and that wouldn't change anything. So what I want to do is I want to make sure to have a variable called max health that can help me in setting a max and a current. So we're going to type up here var and then max health. It's going to be equal to, and then you can do whatever. I'm just going to do 100. And so we're going to change our health variable to just be an int. So instead of equal to 100, we're just going to type, make it a type int. And this way we can make a function called start, which is going to be called once, and that's when we start the game. And inside of here, we can just tell that health should be equal to max health. And so when we start the game, this variable will be equal to whatever we have set inside of Unity. And then we can later on reference the max health to restore our health. So we can say that health equals max health under the respawn stats. And let's see if we get any errors. So head back to Unity and everything looks fine. So if we go under our player, you can see how this looks. So we have the max health and the health. And this, you could just leave it like this for testing purposes, or if you want to see how the variables change. But you could also go ahead and make this a private if you don't want it appearing inside of Unity. But I want to actually see how the player is losing damage, so this is fine for me. Now let's go ahead and let's see. So we have the respawn stats and we have the max health. So let's go and open up our list to see what comes next. Now we want to re-enable the components which we disable here. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and make some room after the GameObject.send message. And here we can just copy the lookaround.enable equals false and so on down here. And just gonna remove some space here. Oops. And I'm gonna change all of the false to true. Like this. And the very last thing we want to do is we want to tell this script that we are now alive again. So we are gonna change the player is dead variable to true. So player is dead equals false, to false, I'm sorry. Because we are not dead anymore. And then we can change the debug log to respawned player, or actually I'm gonna type player has respawned. Like that. Now let's go into Unity and see if all of this fixing and meddling has worked. So let's hit play. And we are probably gonna see a couple of errors, but let's cross our fingers. We get attacked. We are unable to move inside of the menu. Everything works. We hit the respawn. And yeah, something's not working. So let's have a look at what it is. Unassigned reference. Thought so. So of course we need to apply the spawn location to the respawn transform. I knew I would forget this. So if you guys could speak to me right now, I'm sure you were screaming at the screen. Not that you are aggressive or anything. Alright, so just drag in the spawn location to run to the respawn transform. And let's try this one more time. Probably to see another error. Who knows? So let it attack us a couple of times. It works. Hit the respawn. And we are over here with max health, and this is actually working. So yeah, that's pretty much it for now, guys. I hope you enjoyed. You can of course play around with the variables, and you can also move the spawn location to wherever you want. I'm just gonna move it over here, and then I'm gonna move the enemy away from the town. Remember that you don't want him any near the spawn location, so it's a good idea to maybe build some walls or something to shield it off. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and I'll see you in the next one.